Welcome, Middlers, to the Medium in the Middle podcast. My name is Stephanie, and I take you on a journey of self-discovery and spiritual exploration. I am a Reiki master teacher, a spiritual and business mentor, and of course, a psychic medium. And I am here to share my story and help you tap into your extraordinary abilities. Join me every Wednesday as we dive into the realms of intuition, energy healing, and all things mystical. Whether you're a seasoned spiritual seeker or just dipping your toes into the magical waters, this podcast is your go-to source for inspiration, guidance, and a whole lot of lessons and laughter along the way. Let's get started. Hello. Welcome to episode 213. My name is Stephanie. I am the medium in the middle. And I just had an aha moment of what today's podcast should be about. I had another idea that I will save for later, but I was just in a mentorship call using this exact example to explain something. And then it was like a light bulb went off in my head. Bing, bing, bing. This is today's podcast episode. So here we are coming live directly from Inspired Conversation. So today's story actually happened at the Banff Wellness Retreat, but it is a snippet or a sliver of an example of why mentorship is so helpful and important, but also how you can start to do this on your own. So on the last call with my mentees, the January round of mentees are just wrapping up. Today is the last day. And it's always so sad to say goodbye, but on the last call with everyone, I like to kind of say, okay, like taking what you learned from the last few months, remember to apply it as moving forward. Now I'm in the back of your head and you'll know what I would normally say. You'll know how I would, try to get you to see things differently. So now use that as you continue to kind of move forward. So today's an example of that happened when I was presenting at the Banff Wellness Retreat this past weekend. It was so fun. I'm excited to do it all over again next weekend. But before we jump into the story, let's pull this week's card pull. And I do it every week live on Instagram. If you don't already follow me on Instagram at Medium in the Middle, just a reminder, I only have one account and I will never DM you or ask you for money or ask you to send me money. I will never ever do that. So just beware of scammers on the internet. There's scammers everywhere. It's c'est la vie, the world we live in, what can you do? So, whoever was on the live voted this week for the Kyle Gray Angel Guide book, and I pulled the card Angelic Protection. So I always ask what the listeners need to know this week, what's a little reminder for them, and this is the card that came up. A brilliant light of protection is around you at this time. Angels are guiding and guarding you and want you to know that you are safe. Whether you're feeling worried about physical, emotional, or spiritual harm or not, this card is confirming that you have spiritual protection. Your angel guide is supporting you and leading you towards positive experiences and outcomes. If you have decisions to make or opportunities to take and you are unsure what to do, know that this card is bringing you to comfort and support. The angels who are with you only need a prayer from you in order to swoop in and guide you. Okay. Angelic protection. Sometimes I feel like I have to say more, but sometimes I feel like I don't, and this is one of those cases. It was funny, I had some in-person sessions here in Banff, Alberta, and we were pulling cards. We were doing a session where there's card pulls at the end, and 4 cards actually came up for her. And I just started laughing, and sometimes I was like, do I even need to read the cards? Like, do I ever need to say anything? Like, look at what the card said. They always just hit so good sometimes. They always just say exactly what we need to hear. So that's what we have for this week, Angelic Protection. Just a reminder, sometimes we need that little reminder. So the only announcement I have for you this week is about Reiki trainings. The May Reiki trainings are now live and ready for registration. If you have been waiting for Reiki Level 2, the next Level 2 is May 4th and 5th. You will kind of start to feel the pull as you did for Reiki Level 1 when you're ready to learn more. You're ready for the symbols, for Distance Reiki, learning more how to work on someone else, how to clear items, how to clear rooms. Level 2 is way more fun than level 1. I can tell you that just because it's so interactive. You kind of know what you're doing a little bit more, so we can do a lot of fun stuff. And if you are interested in learning Reiki, the next Reiki level 1 is May 11th and 12th, which is Mother's Day weekend. It's always nice to do it on that weekend because a lot of moms like to give that as a gift to themselves or a gift from their family, send the kids away, have a weekend dedicated to you. I will leave all the links you need down below in the show notes to register for any Reiki courses. I do still have one more spot potentially in my spring mentorship group. There is one time slot left, so if it works for someone, I'll leave it up. If you are looking for a mentor in the Reiki, mediumship, spiritual development realm, you want some help this spring, we work together from the beginning of May until July. You can jump in the next round of mentorship. So this past weekend, I was presenting at the Banff Wellness Retreat, and I was doing a lecture on spirit signs, how to sense, see, understand, figure out spirit signs. And I was making jokes about how this is my job, helping people figure this stuff out. And I want people to be able to figure it out on their own. I am constantly trying to teach people how to do this on their own so you do not have to go and pay someone else or seek validation from somebody else about your signs and symbols. So this is a short little perfectly wrapped lesson all in one because this is exactly what happened. I did an entire hour and a half talk on spirit signs, how to see the spirit signs, how to trust, how to understand, how to pay attention to them. And then at the end, I was talking about, please don't search for validation through other people. Like, please don't think you need a medium to sit here and confirm for you. Like, these are your signs, these are your spirits with the right questions. You can just get to the answers. So we went through my whole talk of all of these things, and I had someone raise their hand. And they said, I have a question. I've been finding dimes my whole life, and I don't know who it is, and I don't know what it means. Like, you're sitting here saying this, and I've been finding dimes, and I have no idea what it could be. And I said, okay, we'll figure this out for you. Here we go. A little 30-second mentorship session. I said, how long have you been finding the dimes? She's like my whole life. I was like, okay, your whole life. Do you remember around what time it started? Yeah, now that I think of it, I think it was around when I was 13 or 14, she said. I said, okay, so it started around when you were 13 or 14. Any significant thing happen in your life around that time? Anyone die when you were 13 or 14? And just as she went to go say the words, no, 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 she was like, yep. Oh yeah, someone did pass away when I was 13. And now I know exactly who it is. And I was like, does all the times you found a dime now make sense? And she was like, yeah, I can't believe that took me 14 years to realize. And as a joke, I was like, yep, who's next? Like, who has a next problem? But sometimes it can just be that easy as asking the right questions. How long have you been finding dimes? Since this age, since this happened, right after this summer. Okay, did anything significant in your life happen around that time? Did anyone pass away around that time? Because I find the biggest problem when people get stuck on these things is they're not asking the right questions. You're focused on the dimes. You're focused on, well, why would there be a dime here? Why would I find this here? Why would there be a dime? Well, who would be sending me a dime? You want to go back to the origin. When did this start? When did you start to notice? What was going on at that time? Were you thinking about someone? Was it this? Was it that? And then she was like, well, I've been finding a lot of them in the last 2 weeks. She's like, it's really, really been heightened. And I was like, okay, is it anyone's birthday, anniversary? Is it the passing of, when this person passed away? She was like, oh yeah, that was at the beginning of April. It's like, huh. So the signs picked up around the time that they were passing. Interesting. And just, in a 30-second little answer, bam, the last 14-year mystery was solved. And when I say I want to save you time, this is exactly what I mean. When I say I want things to be easy and fast for you, this is exactly what I mean. I don't want you to take 14 years to realize it's your, I don't know who it was, I never asked her, but let's say, for example, her grandpa. For you to realize it was your grandpa who has been sending you dimes for 14 years before you put 2 and 2 together that it was him sending you the dimes. So this is why mentorship is an amazing tool. This is why any type of development group is amazing. This is why just talking these things out with your friends or somebody else can really help you get a different perspective to be like, how long have I been finding dimes? What happened when I was that age? Who might have passed away around that time that might have been sending me dimes for 14 years? Now that I know this information, going back to the jar of dimes in my house, oh my gosh, this all makes sense. So I wanted to share that short little lesson with you here on the podcast because sometimes it is that simple of asking yourself the right question. Sometimes a 14-year mystery can be solved with just a few good questions. So when you're feeling stuck, when you're feeling unsure, go bigger vision. Don't be tunnel vision of why am I finding a dime? Who could be sending this to me? How long have I been seeing them? Why could this be happening? And when you start to get good at asking yourself the right questions, you will get your answers a lot faster, which will make things easier and faster. I love easy and fast. Fast, fast, fast. Snap those fingers. I want the answers now, and I want you all to have the answers right now as well. So just hitting you this week with a short little story. I hope you enjoy it. I hope now you're scanning your life thinking, where else can I apply this? Where am I stuck? Do I have a 14-year mystery if I can't figure this out? If you need help, I'm always here. You can book in for mentorship or just one-offs as well. I offer mentorship a la carte, which means you can just book 1 hour with me, bring all your questions, and we will just that easily go through them all. All the links you need to book a Reiki training will be down below. If you want to book a session with me in person here in Banff, Alberta, or virtually, all those links are down below as well. If you haven't already, I would love and appreciate a podcast rating and review. I release new episodes every Wednesday. But until next Wednesday, Middlers, when I see you in your ears, I hope you have a wonderful week figuring out all of your mysteries. Bye, everybody.